Hey, welcome to Bits of the Past Gaming. This is the intro video. Gonna go over my collection so far. Keep in mind this has only been 6 months since I've seriously got into collecting, so keep that in mind. But I figured the best way to start this channel would be to display what my collection is so far within 6 months of collecting. So we'll start with one of the essentials for video game collecting. That's the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo is in excellent condition. Looks like I just bought it yesterday. There's barely any marks or scratches or anything on this. Absolutely unbelievable. I had to pick this up when I saw it. The only problem is, for me, the games are really expensive for Super Nintendo. So I gave all my games to my brother since he's collecting for it, and I don't really have the means with the other things that I'm collecting. But still, awesome system. If I need to play a game, I'll just grab it from him. Good to go. On to the system that I spent all of my childhood playing. It's the Sega Genesis Model 1. My favorite console ever, probably just because of nostalgia factor. Also, a lot of good games that were produced for the Genesis. Genesis had its own vibe and sound and feel that separated it from the Super Nintendo. A lot of games were created for both systems, but to me, I like the gritty sound of the audio on the Genesis. Plus, the Genesis had a lot more like gory action-based games, whereas the Super Nintendo seemed to have a lot more in the way of RPGs. But just as a kid growing up, amazing system. Onward, we have the Model 2 Sega Genesis. Pretty much the same thing, just sleeker look, smaller. A lot of people bought this one over the Model 1. So you see a lot more of these out in the wild than the Model 1. It's, like I said, incredible system. Hooked to it, I have the Sega CD. The Sega CD, not a very good console. Not many games that are good for this, but I had to have it. It also looks amazing paired with the Model 2. And once I get the 32X, we'll make the Frankenstein. It just looks really wild with the 32X on top and it all hooked together. I'll make a video of that once I get that. Onward, we have the Nintendo 64. Amazing system. This blew people's minds when it came out. It had the 4 controller ports in the front, so you could have your friends over and crazy battles. A lot of good games for this system. A lot of good games. I plan on collecting this as well. Once I, finish the other things that I'm collecting. But this system has a memory pack, and if you get an N64, make sure you get the memory pack, because if you don't have it, there are a few games that will not work. It needs that to play, so make sure you get that. Also, I learned today underneath here, you have a port, and they actually made a CD-ROM type of disk drive that you could plug into that, and it would play. You could import things from that CD-ROM drive onto the Nintendo 64. So that's something I'm going to keep an eye out for. I haven't seen it in the wild yet, but maybe I'll run across it. Next, we have the Xbox. This is the original Xbox. This one's a little beat up. I might have to track down one in a little bit better condition, but I couldn't pass up on the deal on this one. Another amazing system. It seems to be overlooked a lot, but there's a lot of good games for this system. Another 4 controller port system. I also have the DVD remote. So many good games for this. Definitely want to collect for this one pretty heavily. And next we have the Sega Dreamcast. Sega Dreamcast is an amazing system. Unfortunately, it had a short-lived run, but it had a lot of amazing games. People really enjoyed playing this. Highly recommend picking this one up. It's not expensive now, but could be expensive in the future. This pretty much revolutionized gaming. It had a built-in modem, so you could do online play. The only problem was when this was out, not too many people could either afford the online play or had the, power and whatever capabilities to run the games online. But people still play this online today. They made, aftermarket systems that make it work. But anyway, onward. The original PlayStation, I remember receiving during holiday times when I was a kid. Incredible system, loved it. But what blew that away and blew most systems away, because I believe this is the best system ever made, and it's the PlayStation 2, or the PS2 for short. PS2, amazing system, game library, has about 3,000 games for it, maybe more. Also, it works as a DVD player, and back when this came out, DVD players were super expensive, but you could buy the PlayStation 2 and have your DVD player as well as an awesome gaming system. So that sold a ton of copies for it, and one of the reasons why I bought it as well. Never go without a PS2. Onward, we have the Nintendo Wii. This was a major hit when it first came out. Many of probably millions, if not a billion people and their grandma and their pet monkey were playing Wii Bowling for this, as well as some other games on here. Crazy when that first came out. Amazing how far it's fallen, probably because a lot of the games for it are garbage. They're not very good, but still something I wanted to have because I remember the craze when it first came out. Onward, we have the Sega Nomad. Sega Nomad, this is one that my brother got me from the holiday time. This one is modded, has a new LCD screen that looks amazing. Modern tech on an old system. This is pretty much a Sega Genesis on the go. Just put the Sega Genesis game right in here and you can take it on the go with you. Only problem is it ate up a lot of batteries, but I got the battery pack hoping with the new screen it won't take as much battery power, but we'll see. Onward, we have the Nintendo Game Boy Advance SP, and this is the 101 model. The 101 model just has a brighter screen, looks a lot nicer. This one's in pretty good condition, and amazing games for it. Plays Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games, Game Boy Advance games, and just looks really nice. Next is the PS Vita. The PS Vita I have complete in box. A kid at work let me buy it off of him. Amazing deal. The Vita was not very successful in the United States, but was very successful in Japan. Unfortunately, because it is a nice system, it's like having a PlayStation on the go. The games look really nice, plays really nice. I have to get to collecting more for this one. And onward, we have the original PSP, PlayStation's attempt at portable. This system's actually amazing. I love it. I play it regularly. It has a lot of good games for it. Looks really nice. Just for some reason didn't take off, didn't get a lot of love. And then on the bottom here is just controllers for all the systems, and my cat who's being a pain in the butt right now. And then we'll go on and we'll go to the rest of my systems. The PS4, not much to say there, recently came out. I'm still getting into it. The PlayStation 3 is an awesome system. Has a lot of good games for it. Has a lot of exclusives for it. Really good for RPGs, as Sony usually is. So definitely something you want to pick up. Just finished beating Uncharted 1 through 3. Incredible. Highly recommend. And then we'll go onward. We have the Xbox One. Xbox One, another good system from Microsoft. Still getting into it, really. This is the limited edition Gears of War controller. Really nice piece. It has scratches in it to make it look like it went through a war. Something I had to grab. And then we have my favorite console of the modern times is the Xbox 360, which I have the limited gold edition or gold plated edition controller. This is the fat Xbox 360. I like that over the slim, only because it has the removable hard drive. So if you fill up one with games, you can just swap it out for another one. Really nice. So many games for that system, which I'm heavily collecting right now, which I'll make more videos of in the future. I'm about 120 games into the library so far. Still a lot more to go, but you know, I love that system. Now we'll go to the old retro stuff. We have my Genesis collection. Not very big, but all is complete in box with manual in great condition. I don't like to collect loose carts that much. Just a personal thing. It means more money for me, but I think it's worth it in the long run. Then we have my small PS1 collection, which actually has some heavy hitters in there. Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy Tactics, Legacy of Kain, Parasite Eve, stuff like that. Dreamcast, I only have a couple Dreamcast games. And then loose carts of Sega Genesis that I like. Also my N64 collection, small, has just the carts. But I do have WrestleMania 2000 for N64. In my opinion, the best wrestling game ever made. I have it complete in box, in really good shape. Definitely a prized piece in my collection. Very fun to play, especially with multiple people. The Royal Rumble is incredible on it. It's so fun. Then my small my small PS Vita collection. I'll have to work more on that. The PSP, I love the PSP. My collection is kind of small, but I have all the games that I really like to play. Killzone's really good. This has a lot of good classics on it. And then you have, God of War, Hot Shots Golf, love that game. Play that more than anything, I think. It's a fun little silly golf game. Then down here's accessories, Game Boy games, my Nintendo cartridges. I don't really care about Nintendo because it's just so expensive. I don't really want to get into that, but I understand people that do. It's just not my cup of tea, but I do appreciate it. So I have some of the good ones like Turtles 3, Dr. Mario, Mario 3, stuff like that. All right, onward. And this is my main part of my collection that I've been working on, and that's the 360 collection. So here's all my 360 games. So far, a lot of good ones. I'm going to make a video on these so you can see more in depth, and I'll talk about the games and little things about them. And then PS3, I have some PS3. I've been working mostly on exclusives for PS3 and the rest of my 360. And then if we go around here, my original Xbox games, really nice. PS2 games, still going to work on that. And then my Xbox One and my PS4. So that's all my games that I've collected over the past 6 months. So many more to come, but wanted to make a video. One love.